Welcome to Buccaneers Insider. I'm your host, Danny Rabinowitz. Today I'm joined by our softball coach, Coach Danielle Penner. Coach, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Coach, let's look back to last season. You had some success during the year. You had some things I think you probably want to improve as well. Just take me back to last year, and how did that go?
You know, certainly every time you look back in the past, you want to improve upon the season, no matter what. Only one team wins their last game, so every other team is trying to do better. Last year we didn't do as well. You know, I think we struggled in a few areas, particularly our pitching. Two of our three were injured, you know, and that certainly has a toll on a team. But the rest of us really did try to work through that, and we finished fairly well given the situation. You know, two of them required surgery. You know, we've got our number one coming back, and she's doing very, very well. And so we're looking forward to a good year.
Now, Coach, you picked to finish fourth in the preseason coaches poll. Do you pay any attention to that kind of stuff? And does that have anything to do with your expectations going into the season?
No, I mean, who doesn't like to be considered higher? But no, I don't put any stake in it, because it doesn't matter where you are in the beginning of the season. It matters where you are at the end. You know, and that's what I try to stress to my student athletes. The same thing with the national ranking. It means absolutely nothing. Those things mean nothing. It's how you perform on the field.
You brought in Amber Jack, a former player
Yes.
here, to work as one of your assistants. What does she bring to the table?
Amber brings a lot, you know, starting with passion. She is probably one of the most quintessential Barrie University softball alums we have. She's one of the most passionate kids we've ever had. She also comes from two collegiate programs, most recently from a program that finished top 10 in a lot of offensive categories. Also, she brings to the package the ability to help me with BP and pitching and defense. I mean, she brings a breadth of knowledge that's going to be really helpful for us this year. Certainly passion and the experience of having been a Barrie alum is helpful.
Now, you have a unique situation. You're bringing back all your starters from last season. I think that's probably a good thing in some ways, maybe not such a good thing in other ways. You're going to have some position battles out there, but that's a good situation, a unique situation.
Yeah, we were young last year. I don't want to use that as an excuse, because sometimes it's great to be young. You know, there's a lot of passion. There's a lot to be said about youth. But there's also a lot to be said about youth. So it's nice that we're 1 year older, and we returned every starter from the infield and the outfield. And I'm not so certain that will be the same this year, because some of the newcomers we have are very talented and very hardworking. So I'm looking forward to it.
When you work some of those newcomers in, Coach, with the players that have already been here, with the season getting ready to get going, how do you feel the chemistry is right now between this team?
You know, I think that could always improve. And that's not saying that we have poor chemistry. That's just saying that I believe, you know, that there's a specific combination of chemistry, talent, work ethic that has to combine to bring a championship. It's not just the best athletes or the best chemistry, it's a combination of everything. So I'm always working harder for that. You know, I think the newcomers, what they've added really right away is the competition aspect. They have made our returners better. You know, they have pushed our returners. I have one who's probably made the most improvement in my career, both as a player and as a coach. In just 1 year, she has dedicated and done a lot.
Now, Coach, you have, you know, those competitions, those battles, but I think you probably are telling, you know, players that may not make that starting rotation, hey, you know, we dealt with injuries last season. It's probably nice to have some depth as well. So you have those injuries, you can go, you know, to your bench like that.
Absolutely. That's something we've worked hard on in the last several years. Traditionally, Division II doesn't have as much depth. We have a lot of talent. Division I talent just don't usually have a lot of the depth. We started to improve on that, I think, a couple of years back. And I think this year we've done a really nice job of that as well. We lost a pitcher in November, and my starting catcher from last year was a pitcher throughout high school. And she's actually good. You know, so it's nice to be able to take somebody from one position, put them at another, and see them excel. You know, I have that in several areas. So it's nice to have that, knowing that if we sustain an injury, that I have somebody else who can come and make that transition, and we move along as if nothing happened. It's great.
All right, Coach, who are some of the big bats that we can expect to see provide some offense this season?
Well, certainly we are going to continue to count on Julie Brito. From her freshman year until now, she's been consistent and powerful for us. We will definitely also be relying on Kelly Martinez. You know, Kelly had a bit of an off year last year after sustaining an injury that kept her out for quite a bit. But the year before, we're hoping that she's going to continue from that All-American success from her sophomore year. We also have a newcomer in a junior transfer in Dee Espinoza, and she might be one of the most powerful kids we've had in a long time. She's got a lot of power for a small young lady. And then in the game of softball, our powerful bats can also include some of our speed. we're really looking forward to seeing what Kayla Ogle can do for us. She's probably one of the fastest runners we've ever had at the school, if not the fastest. She was one of the fastest in Division II last year. She led most of Division II in stolen bases. And we're also going to look for Megan Copeland to do really well. She's a triple threat for us. She came in as a slapper and was the Sunshine State Conference Freshman of the Year. And through her hard work last year as a sophomore, she learned to hit, and she could take over the 3-hole spot for us. She was, she could be the, in the 1 spot. She's just done a great job for us. So we have more in our lineup that are considered powerful than we don't, and that's a great position to be in. It's certainly the first time in a long time we've been there.
And then, Coach, finally, a lot of home games. You loaded up on the home games on the schedule, which is good. We get to see a lot of you guys down here on campus, but how nice is that to have all those home games on the schedule?
It is wonderful. We have spent the last decade trying to build our roster into a team of mostly Floridians. When I inherited it, it was mostly out of state, but it's good business. There's a ton of talent in the state of Florida. So not only do we want Floridians, but we want to play in front of our Florida fans. So to build, to build a schedule that can get us at home and to get us in front of hometown fans and have that support is something we've worked hard to do. And this year we probably have the most number of home games in the last decade. So.
All right, Coach. Well, we're looking forward to it. Best of luck to you this season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, now let's send it over to Jim McCurdy with our men's golf coach, Jimmy Stobs.
Thank you, Danny. And now I'm joined here on Buccaneers Insider by men's golf coach, Jimmy Stobs. Jimmy, thanks for stopping by today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, if you come down the hallways here to your office and you see all these glorious pictures, and then, of course, here in your office, it's filled with just championship photos and team photos from years past. How nice is that to come into work and be surrounded by all this history?
It feels good. I put it up just for that, it's like a wall history since I've been here. And I've been here 13 years, and we've had over 20 All-Americans now, and they're represented on my wall. We've had 3 national championships, and I think it's real important that the current team, future players, and even alumni recognize that and can feel in the history.
What are the guys like when you bring a player in here just to have a chat session and they see the walls and all the pictures and they see themselves on it? How does that make them feel to know that they're sitting in their surroundings and you've got them before you every day?
Well, they know when they walk in here that the program does have a lot of good history, and they have big shoes to fill. And with the 3 championships and all the All-Americans, they know that that's what I expect, and that's what the program's all about, is winning championships.
Of course, you've won 3 national titles here, as you said, and you're coming off your 2nd straight. So as you head into the 2015 spring season, after 2 straight championships, how tough does it become to try to three-peat now with this year's team?
It's hard to win any championship, let alone 3 in a row. Last year we fought a little complacency, but we overcame that in the middle of the spring, and then we finished the season winning the last 4 tournaments actually, all the postseason. This year we have 5 new players, so complacency is not going to be an issue because they're hungry to get a ring themselves. And I really like the makeup of this team. They work very hard, and they seem to be pushing each other.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about these new players, because the last couple of years you've had the benefit of some upperclassmen, guys that have been around, but this year you got to do it with some new horses. So what's the progress been for some of these new guys that are getting into the lineup?
Well, the addition of Mike Anderson is huge. He's a very good player. He's currently ranked 8th in Division II. He had 3 top 10 finishes in the fall, and his worst finish was 12th. So he's having an outstanding year, and he's our number 2 player. And then Nico Cavero has stepped up. He sat on the bench for 2 years, and now he's in the lineup, and he's playing very well. So the team is very strong.
Of course, you get Adam Svensson back, the player of the year last year, and it's nice to have him back for a junior season to give you another chance this year.
Yes, it's nice to have Adam back in the lineup. He is by far the best player in the country, and he happens to play for Barry University. And not only does Adam bring great play, but he brings great leadership. The guys follow what he does. He talks to them about golf. So it's almost like having a third coach on the staff, and he's been tremendous for the program.
Now, you guys struggled a little bit in the fall, not having your typical fall that you've had the last couple years. Adam was in one of those tournaments. You guys did win that one. So how do you kind of brush aside some of the struggles in the fall and move forward here in the spring?
Well, we had 4 different lineups, which was good and bad. The lineup that was the strongest, we won by 20 shots, and that was the one with Adam in there, and that was the guy Harvey. The other 3 tournaments, we competed. We were still in the hunt. We finished 4th, and 5th. So it was good to get those younger guys some experience, but it wasn't where we want to be, and that's in the winner's circle.
And last year you won a school record 8 tournaments. It's pretty hard to top that. So, while your expectations are always sky high, what's a realistic goal for you this year, tournament-wise or just, end results-wise that you want this team to accomplish?
Well, we always have the goal to compete in every tournament, and I expect that this semester. And I think we'll be right there. I expect to win a lot of tournaments. Of course, you can't control other teams. There's a lot of good teams. But if we just play our normal games and stick to the process, we'll compete and win tournaments.
And you got a new ride to go along with things this year with the new golf van. How excited are the guys to get on the road with this new golf van?
They're very excited. We haven't used it yet. We're about to. It's going to be a lot safer, a lot more comfortable, and we're very excited about it.
Riding in style, Jimmy Stobs and the men's golf team. Well, Jimmy, thanks for joining us here on Buccaneers Insider, and good luck here in 2015.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks, Jim. Now I'm joined by the head coach of our baseball team, Coach Marc Pavao. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, 29-19 last season, Coach. Let's take a look back to last year and what went well for you guys.
Well, we got off to a really good start, and that was a big help. But once we hit conference, we struggled a little bit and then picked it back up towards the end of the year. But just one of those years.
Coach, what are some of the lessons maybe you take from some of those struggles and you say this is something we don't want to repeat going into this season?
As a coach, I learned a ton of things about the group and what worked for us, what didn't. We always preach hard work and work ethic. And, there were some situations where guys maybe took some games off or plays off and stuff. So we've made some adjustments roster-wise and, hung on to the guys that are going to work.
Now, Coach, you guys are picked to finish 7th in the preseason polls in the Sunshine State Conference. Do you look into that at all? Do you take any motivation from that, or you just kind of dismiss it?
No, not one bit. I had no idea, to be honest, the first I'm hearing it. A friend of mine texted me and asked if he had seen preseason polls, if they're accurate, and I just laughed. It doesn't matter. I don't know. To me, it doesn't matter. I think the last time we won the conference, or the last 2 times we won the conference, we were ranked somewhere in that area. So keep ranking us 6th, 7th. That's great.
Coach, how do you feel this team is coming together when you mix the newcomers with the guys who have already been here? What's the chemistry level like at this point? You feel like guys are starting to get along with each other?
Yeah, I love this group. From the outside looking in as a coach, it's refreshing to see that the young and the youth working really hard, and they blend really well with the guys that have come back. The older guys have taken the young guys under their wing, and it's a fun group. They work, like I said, they work really hard, so I'm excited for it.
You've had the opportunity to play a few exhibition games. What have you taken from some of those so far?
In our minds, we have an idea of who's probably going to start opening day, but then it's an opportunity to get as many pitchers on the mound that maybe won't have early innings at the beginning of the season to see what they can do. And then also for some guys to get some at-bats and see how they handle different positions. We have a bunch of guys that are versatile defensively, so it gives me an opportunity to move guys around.
All right, Coach, you mentioned the pitchers. What's the rotation looking like heading into the season?
Well, we don't really like to name a rotation this early in the season. We let guys kind of work themselves into a role. So far, based on performance, the other night, Brosecker took the mound as a freshman, struck out 8 in 3 innings, so that would give him an opportunity probably to get a spot start or a start at the beginning of the season, see what happens, how he does. So I would say Daniel Benitez, if I had to name a few, Nate Grieve, Louis DeVille, Joe Anthony potentially, and then a handful of other guys with spot starts and see how it works itself out.
Coach, 13 freshmen on this team. What do guys need to do, the younger guys? What do they need to do in your eyes to earn themselves some playing time?
I think guys have earned that. There's a couple guys that will probably be in the starting lineup that are freshmen. It's really how they handle that they might consider it mental adversity, you know, and what it's like to be on the field as a freshman. But the quicker they can overcome that, they're talented enough to play, certainly.
You know, you mentioned mental adversity, and Coach, I wanted to ask you about the double headers that you guys play, and those can sometimes be long afternoons. You're dealing with the heat, and it seems like the mental aspect comes in almost as much as the physical aspect does in a double header like that. You know, how do you guys deal with that, and how do you coach guys up for that?
I think people underestimate the difficulty to do and to play 2 9-inning games in South Florida. They really, really do. How do you deal with it? You try to, of course, hydrate them and all that good stuff and make sure their bodies are physically capable of handling it. But mentally, just stay on them, keep pushing, be positive, those type of things. You know, guys that, we have 2 teams involved, not just one. So it's a matter of who can stay focused the most and play better baseball.
Coach, J.C. Cardenas, Khalil Denson, a couple of guys that are coming back. How important are they for the defense of this team?
They're very important. They're going to man the middle of the field, and so far they've done a tremendous job, and they have experience, so that's a big one, especially up the middle.
And then, Coach, February the 4th, you open up the season down here in Miami. How excited are you just to get things underway and start playing some ball?
No, can't wait. I wish it was tomorrow, but we're very excited.
And then how great is it, Coach, just to have these games at home, early on in the season, get to play in front of the fans out here, always get a nice turnout out there?
No, it's a blessing. We do our best to get as many home games as possible. It's not always that easy. But, with our athletic director working with us to try and get teams down here, and it's been helpful. So, no, it's a blessing. It's great.
Coach, thank you so much, and best of luck to you this season.
Appreciate it.
I want to thank all of today's guests, Danielle Penner from our softball team, Marc Pavao from our baseball team, and Jimmy Stobs from our men's golf team. For Jim McCurdy and Dennis Jezik, I'm Danny Rabinowitz. Thank you for watching this edition of Buccaneers Insider.